Hey, it's Matt Pinfield. It's Monday. Welcome to In a Lonely Place. Yes, we call it that because, obviously we're all sequestered, self-quarantined. It's the name of a great Smithereen song with Suzanne Vega, great Humphrey Bogart movie, great New Order song. And I just thought it would be the best name, because I want it to come from a very, very honest place, which is what we're doing. I mean, our whole thing is that we're raising money for Music Cares because the people in our community, the music community, so many people, like, their lives have been completely uprooted. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody's lives have been uprooted by the COVID-19. But to do this show for me and to work with Linda Perry and Carrie Brown and Chris Rivero and everybody we are here was the greatest idea because I just wanted to hang out with my friends who I usually be hanging out with and spending time with them, talking about their music, their careers, and the records that really they cannot live without, the things that have changed their lives, to find them. It's been it was a crazy weekend. I had one of my best friends, this guy Robbie Schickner. He was like usher in my first wedding, and we used to go see everybody together: the Smiths, Graham Parker, Joe Jackson, Elvis Costello, the Psychedelic Furs. I mean, you name it. I found out he reached out to me and said, "Matt, I got the COVID, man, and I don't know if I'm going to survive this." And that was very, very, very devastating to me yesterday. I mean, I love this guy so much. He always got the same music I did, and we've always been close. So I'm praying for him. He's going to be all right. And it made me think, because the first place that we saw the Smiths together was Philadelphia in the Tower Theater. The next night, we saw Tears for Fears, Songs in the Big Chair. Kurt Smith is going to be on this show in a couple of weeks from Tears for Fears because I've been talking to him too. Mad World obviously is like it's an anthem for these times. I thought about Philly music and the history of the fact that I grew up in New Jersey, in between Philly and New York, two of the most amazing cities, in America. So I always loved the Philly music scene, even though I was a little far from it. So love the Gamble and Huff stuff, like OJ's and Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Love the Soul Survivors, Expressway to Your Heart. A bunch of white guys who met. Most people, they thought they were a black band, but they met because they had a car accident and ran into each other on the highway. And then they found the best guys in both bands and had that big hit, Expressway to Your Heart. Love Jim Croce. It's funny, I just happened to be listening to him last night because I was talking to our next guest. And I thought about how much I loved Jim Croce's songwriting and storytelling ability. And when I was 8 years old, I watched this special on PBS, and it blew me away. And so I was watching that last night. And then my friend posted a picture today of 6 years ago. We're back with Rob Zombie. And, people think, that metal guys would be listening to metal. Rob Zombie was listening to, before he went on stage, Jim Croce, which is amazing. So I love Jim Croce, and I just wanted to make sure that I let everybody know that. The other thing I'm going to say is, as the years go on, so much great stuff in Philadelphia. The A's, I could just name so many bands. And of course, now, of War on Drugs, Kurt Vile. But this artist I have on right now, not only a friend of mine, but somebody I just have loved his music, and I've known him since the very, very beginning of him starting his musical career, running into him on the street in Austin, Texas. And I'm talking about Josh Ostrander right now from Mondo Cosmo, which he basically is Mondo Cosmo. Josh, what's up, buddy? How are you, man?
Brother, it is good to see you. I'm doing all right. I'm sorry about your buddy, man. I'm feeling for you right now. That sucks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's tough, So I put on that Jim Croce live thing that I saw when I was a kid. People, I had a great conversation with Quentin Tarantino. He co-owns a fusion restaurant in the West Village. And I asked him, I go, I got a name in the beginning of Django Unchained. And dude, Jim Croce is one of the fucking greatest ever. He goes, I use my actual 45. He used the vinyl 45 on ABC Records.
That's so cool.
Oh, fucking cool.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah, man, I just, we pull strength from our friends. We're just so grateful to be alive. And, it's always our friends and the music to get us through everything. So anyway, man, I want to concentrate on good things. That's what Robbie would want, or any of my friends. So Josh, let's talk about you starting in music, because like our story's funny. Tell people the story about how you and I
Well,
met in the street.
so I was, obviously like growing up a kid of the 90s, I was a huge fan of you before I ever met you. I was, you were this icon to me. And then I'm not sure what year it was, but we were at South by, and it was our first year at South by Southwest, and we were so excited. And I'm walking down the street. I don't know if it was 6th Street or what. And I see Matt Pinfield wearing my band's t-shirt. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what is this? Must be a mistake. I went right up to you, and that started a friendship that's been, man, like freaking 15 years now. I would assume at least, maybe more than that. But I just love you, and honestly, you're such a supporter of me and my music, and you come out to the shows and you wear the t-shirts, and you're always checking in on me to make sure I'm doing all right. And I love that Jersey aspect of you, where you're honest, and I love you, and I would do anything for you, and it's just nice to see you. And I just love you.
Man, I love you too, Josh. I got to tell you, that's the amazing thing, and we've had this journey, through the LaGuardia, because I was a fan of your first band, and then like so many of my friends. I mean, we've all had like we got to go through trials and tribulations, and it's part of that growing thing where like where you're on a label, it's a job I might have had, and
Right.
I learned the hard way and take hard knocks, and we had to do different things. And then Eastern Conference Champions was your next band, and
Yeah.
I fucking loved you guys. It was wild because I was watching a rerun of something on the TV, Friday Night Lights, and it was like your track.
Oh yeah, that was a big one for us. Yeah.
And I was like, awesome, man, there it is. I remember buying the import. Remember I told you the story? It's in storage. I mean, when I don't know when I'm gonna get back to New Jersey to go through that story. But there's this actual, the record label made the most interesting thing. It was Fiction, right? Was it?
No, we were with, oh man, was it Island UK?
Oh, it's Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the label you were on did this really fucking wild thing where they made a actual CD that was vinyl and a CD.
It was this, I think it was one song or two songs, I'm not sure. But yeah, you could put it in your CD player and play it, and then you could pull it out and put it on your record player. And I was like, I thought it was the greatest idea. I never got one. And then you got one, probably because I sent it to you.
No, I bought it actually at
you bought it.
Rebel Records on Bleecker and Christopher in New York City.
Oh my God.
Bought it, like, yeah.
So
I'm gonna give that to you when I one day find it, because I really, really want to give that to you. But I love that you had the band, and then you decided at one point to move and go solo. Tell me about. I want to know more, about your love of music, and you as a kid and growing up around Philadelphia. Tell me about what obviously you talked about when 20, I know it was important to you and all the other things, but can you kind of tell me about what was the thing that absolutely drove you to know you wanted to play guitar and write songs?
Man, I was probably late to music. Like growing up in Philly, I loved Boys to Men. You know what I mean? Like growing up as a kid, I was like, I loved soul music, R&B music. That was like where I first began to like music. And then, I got into my teenager years, and then when Nirvana put out In Utero, that was the record for me. My older brother, I was so blessed to have an older brother who had great musical taste. He was listening to like Jane's Addiction and, just so much Stone Roses and stuff that was just over my head at the time. But I finally got into my own with In Utero, and I was like, I want to play guitar. I want to figure out how to play these songs. And that was it, man. I was in the basement for 2 years. I didn't leave. I was obsessed.
Yeah.
And I still am, but that was a fun time. And it's so cool to think about like how, you learned how to strum a guitar and you figured out the chord. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I had to prove to my parents that I wasn't going to waste the money if they bought me a guitar. So I had to memorize the chord formations with the hand and show them that I knew what a G chord was and a D chord and an A chord. And they were like, all right, we'll get you for Christmas. And man, I was gone. As soon as I started playing, I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. I love it.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. I love that. So, so tell me, but you were how old were you when LaGuardia got signed, and how did that transpire?
Oh man.
You guys were,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I remember we did a showcase on September, I think September 8th. It was like a Friday or whatever that Friday was. We did a showcase for Interscope Records. And the following, what was it, Tuesday was 9/11. And we were like, oh man, like obviously that's not going to happen. And the whole world just stopped. But it was soon after that. So it was 2011 when we signed with Republic. We signed with Republic right after that.
yeah.
And we put out one record and got dropped. And then, which was funny because I would eventually re-sign to Republic as Mondo Cosmo, which was
What I
hilarious.
talked about is like kind of wild. It's crazy. So, but it is life. I mean, things come full circle.
Yeah, it's funny.
Well, now, Eastern Conference Champions, I always thought that was such a cool name and very different because it had like a sports reference to it.
I loved it. It was kind of,
Brits loved it, and I think they don't. I think the Brits, where you guys were, people loved it. I wonder if they even knew what that meant.
I don't know.
It's like,
But yeah, it was I mean, we're from Philly, so like our sports are gospel, So like if the Flyers make it to the playoffs, if they win the playoffs, they're the Eastern Conference champions before they go to the Stanley Cup. And we just love the name.
we're frozen for a minute, folks. I'm just
Tough.
give it a second. There we go. Hey, Joe.
Am I
back? There we go. Now I think you're back. Go ahead. You're
sorry.
So,
but yeah, it was a cool band name, but I feel like it was tough, like when it came like to doing T-shirts and artwork, because there were so many letters, it got a little tough.
Yeah, it's funny. I'll tell you a funny story. Speaking of Eastern Conference and the whole New York, Jersey, Philly rivalry over the years. Remember, I was doing a morning show in New York City, and the Jersey Devils were like, dude, we're going to give you like 5 boxes to give away for these playoffs on your show because they were afraid. They didn't want the Philly fans to buy them all up. And Philly still won, kicked our ass that year. I mean, I love the Devils. And look, I was friends with Sean Avery from the New York Rangers. He and I, he's got a tattoo of fish on one arm and Radiohead on the other. And I fucking love Sean, and he and I became great friends. But it's like really funny story. That's the whole deal. There's always been that rivalry with Philly and New York, obviously.
Yeah, it's serious, man. Yeah.
It's an absolutely serious thing. Yeah. So when it came time to actually, you were like Eastern Conference champions, you were like, it was time to do something solo. What was the catalyst in that? Because I know we all go through changes, work with people in different things, and then we kind of decide sometimes that, creatively, I have to make a change. I have to move. I have to shift and do things. And that's natural, and it's, one of my favorite documentaries is the Foo Fighters Back and Forth because, there's sometimes feelings get hurt and a lot of shit goes down, but that's fucking life because, what are you going to do? You're going to stay in a situation if you don't feel it's the right thing? No, you can't. You got to have the balls to stand up and say, man, I got to do this right now for what I want to do and to express.
Yeah. I mean, quitting ECC was easy. That was the hardest thing I've ever done. That was so hard because it was such a family, and it was like, but at the same time, Matt, I was working like 2 jobs and doing the band, and I was exhausted, and I was like, and we couldn't get music out, and it was like, we couldn't get tours. We couldn't afford to go on tour, and I was just like, I can't do that. Like I had to leave the band to start getting music out. Because otherwise it was like, well, maybe we should try to get signed before it out. We had to, it was just, it got to be to the point where it was just like, I didn't feel I was as an artist, I didn't feel, fulfilled, and it sucked to leave, but, I'm glad I did. It was hard, and I lost a lot of friends, a lot of great friends, and I'm still working on fixing those relationships, but
A hard
you
thing.
know, yeah, I mean, but sometimes,
Hard thing.
like you have to do what you gotta do sometimes, and it sucks, but that's it.
But you know what came out of that is, one of my fucking favorite albums
Oh.
of the last, 5 years, and a song that fucking just blew me out of the water. Absolutely. Just when I heard Shine, I was like, this is fucking Bob Dylan meets Richard Ashcroft meets fucking, I flipped when I heard the song.
Oh, that's
It's
so
still one of my favorite songs. Some
cool.
list of my maybe top 100 songs ever. I,
Wow.
I gotta just say, there was so much beauty in the fucking execution, and it was also so much honesty and sadness and
Yeah.
fighting through. And like there was that thing, man, like right before the final chorus that just fucking where you like
My
just
voice broke. Yeah.
down like, and I just went fucking. This is it was just there's a reason it went to number one, like adult alternative. It was
Yeah.
just fucking I love the song to this day.
That's amazing. Thank you. That means a lot.
It's so epic in so many ways. And like I mean, I want to ask you about when you were writing that. Where were you? Where were you at? Where was your?
Oh man, I'm not in a good place. It was bad. I assumed I was again writing and recording a song that nobody would ever hear other than my friends, and I was lost. I was working this job, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to do music anymore. And that broke my heart, So like, you know, it was a prayer as much as it was a Hail Mary. It was just, I mean, but Matt, when I cut it, I remember I recorded that vocal in the breakdown verse right before the last chorus. And it was the only take I did of it, and my voice broke because I remember feeling the power of that moment. So when you say that, that means a lot because I kept it in there. And man, to hear you say that and the messages that I get from people about that song, I mean, geez, I mean, something bigger was at work with that one, like that was, I listened to it and I'm like, I don't even know how I did this. I don't know.
So spiritual, man, and it's such a fucking beautiful way,
Yeah.
and I love that so much. And I it's still like the minute I hear the opening chords, and if there's different versions of it. There's the full on,
Mhm.
like acoustic versions. There's a few stripped down ones you did for different music like streaming outlets, and every single one of them just still fucking affects me, and it just hasn't lost its power, man.
That's
And,
beautiful.
I remember I was living in San Francisco doing K-Fog, and you were coming to do the Levi's Lounge to perform on a Sunday. And I flew back just to be there. Like I'd gone to see my daughter Maya down in Florida in Jacksonville, and but I knew I had to come back. And you had walked in, and you and I remember like, holy shit, like we remember just some great stories. And we hung out, man. I remember you and I sitting there because that was such an incredible room, like
Yeah.
that it was a small stage, but it was just so great.
Yeah.
Very, very, it was a moment of you and I reconnecting.
And it meant something to me because, you'd known me through all these years, all these different versions of what I was doing. And when it started to like kind of take off a little bit, I could tell you felt a bit of pride, like an older brother or something, so like that meant a lot to me because, in this business, you don't know a lot of people for that length of time, it's special when it happens.
Yeah. And, and I got to tell you, Josh, it was, and I would come see you do it. I came to see you many times live. And I remember we were at the Greek in Berkeley.
Oh, that was a good one.
And you were there. Oh, you did the tour with Bastille.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just fucking what a night that was, man. How beautiful that was.
That
And, like, right? I mean, it was just incredible. Yeah. And most recently, which was amazing, is you reached out to me. I knew you were playing. And that night, I wasn't really feeling that great. But I said, fuck it. I'm going to fucking see Josh. I'm going to see Mondo Cosmo. Got in a cab. You went on like 10:30, and you fucking were amazing. Was it the hi-hat? The
Yeah,
hi-hat.
at the hi-hat, yeah, in Highland Park. Yeah.
Highland Park. And the funniest thing was I was buying a t-shirt because see, I always do work, always buy a t-shirt. Is
But
my
I saw you from stage and I yelled at you because I
yeah.
didn't want you to spend your money on it because I just give you one. But
Well,
you're always
yeah.
buying.
You know me, I always do that. I always support the band, support the artist I love,
That's
and
sweet.
any band. I mean, if I'm on a show, it's like the least I can do is to buy a t-shirt. Whoa, the camera almost went crazy. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, Josh, like let's talk about some of the songs over the last few years that I love. I want to talk about the fact that Plastic Soul, when you named the first solo record Plastic Soul, the first person who ever brought that term up is, obviously somebody that I got to be friends with, who was an idol as a kid, David Bowie.
Yeah.
So is that where you got the title, or was it from somewhere else?
No, I got it from, it was the weekend that Bowie passed away. And my wife was cleaning the house, she was vacuuming, and she had a playlist on. And we were kind of bummed out about the Bowie situation, obviously. And there was this song playing in the background, and it was Irma Franklin's "Piece of Your Heart," which is a
God, yeah.
song that Janice
did. It's just one of the greatest. Yeah.
But I never heard the original version, and this was the first time I heard it. And it had this beautiful piano intro on it, and I was like, I'm gonna sample that and write a song to it. And it'll be about David Bowie. And I just did it. I wrote the lyrics out in like half an hour, recorded the song that day, and it was done. And I love the idea of the lyrics of like time travel, and we were talking about like how cool it would be if we didn't know it, but in fact we were falling in love with each other.
We might have froze for a second, but I'm sure.
Time after lifetime.
Josh will be right back, guys. All right, go ahead, Josh. You're back. We're good.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry, man.
I want to let everybody know, like, just so they don't worry.
But so I love the idea of the lyrics being about time travel and falling in love with the same person in each lifetime. That it was just an idea, and it just became my favorite song on the record. And when they asked me what I wanted to call it, I was like, let's call it Plastic Soul. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's such a great song, man. And Aria, your wife, is so fucking cool. She's amazing.
She's the best.
I love her. You guys are like my full-on friends, man. I love that. And it's really funny because I met her separate from you when she was with her best friend
Alex. Yeah,
Alex. We were all staying at a hotel in New York City, and they're like, she goes, Matt, I'm Josh's. What's up? So we're like, I remembered it was like a quick 2-day trip.
Yeah,
New York for January Jane. I was going to see those guys play this showcase, and I went back, and it was like, I just remember it was very, very cool. But I want to,
love you.
She's the best. But no, I just want to say, like the thing is, so that record, I recently, like I said, I was joking with you. Me and Rick Krim were like record shopping. I'm like, dude, I just found you a fucking double full vinyl, and you're like, I would have given you one. I'm like, no, let me buy it. I mean, look, if it's the one thing I can do for artists, it's spend the money. I don't need the freebies. You know what I mean? I'd rather spend the money. And but what a great record. So when it came time to the second record, we hung out. We had like a release party hang.
Yeah.
And you ended up working on some stuff with one of the guys from Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, which is a band that we both love, obviously.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So when it came time to write my next record, I had a freak out and I messed up my hand. I had one of those terrible moments that I'll forever regret, where it was a video shoot that went bad, and I freaked out and I punched the glass door by accident. I really messed my hand up, and it was terrible. That led me to not being able to play guitar, but I was forced. I had to write the next record. So I got a phone call from this guy named Peter Hayes from a band called Black Rebel Motorcycle Club. We had a mutual friend. I had opened up for Black Rebel for years, but I was never really close with them. And Petey was like, I hear you need some help. And man, dude just saved the day. He came in, he helped me pick which songs should be worked on. He helped me play guitar when I couldn't do anything, because I was playing, but I had a cast on. So anything intricate, Petey would play. And he'd sing on the songs. He would send me vocal ideas. And I'd be like, Pete, can I just keep this in? And he'd be like, yeah, I don't care,
Yeah.
Legend.
So fun. Yeah. And it ended up being like literally just such a great record. And I love the way that you literally went through, all the things on that record. And I listened to all the different songs, all the different styles you took. But I love the warmth of everybody that was involved in that record. We were all hanging out one night on the street.
That was a great night. Yeah.
Fucking such a great night. It was amazing. And I just, I'm so glad everybody watching. I'm sure if you got to go to wherever you stream music, however you consume it, and you got to listen to Mondo Cosmo. The fact that you literally, like, the name Mondo Cosmo comes from your dog and a John Waters film. And dude, Philly, John Waters, dude, the best. I finally met him in San Francisco on the street. I stalked him. I hung with him. I'm like, dude, I bought Shock Value when I was a teenager. And like, there's funny stories that like even Steve Lukather from Toto, his first date with his wife, he's like, I'm going to fucking see how far if she can deal with my insanity. He took her to see Pink Flamingos. Which is
just find out. Yeah.
Well, we're going to go through your albums right now, the 7 albums that you love that are really important to you in your life.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Black Rebel Motorcycle Club. Now, I love so many of the albums. Obviously the first one with whatever happened to my rock and roll, and then Howl with fucking Ain't No Easy Way and Shuffle Your Feet. But I also love Baby 81, which I love the title because it's a baby aspirin. So tell me, you picked that record. We love things like Weapon of Choice, all these great songs that these guys have done. Tell me why you love this record.
I don't know the full story behind that record. But I think that was the record that they made after they opened up for U2. And there was a little bit of a switch in their. I don't know what happened on that record, but there's a couple songs where I'm just like, I am so blown away by how they pulled it off. And it's just, man, the opening track just freaking cooks, and the whole record just front to back is just so good. But man, it's tough because How is one of my favorite records, and their first record is just a classic, so but that's the one. Baby 81 is the one I listen to the most, probably.
Yeah, I mean, those songs are they're just a cool, great band. First time I met those dudes, it was like there was a bar like before I lived out here the second time. I was out here I was doing A&R Columbia Records, and I met them all at the Dragonfly was this bar.
Yeah.
We all hanging out that night, and then I went back and heard Whatever Happened to My Rock and Roll, and I was like, this is the shit. All right, so Jersey, obviously I have a lot of friends there, a lot of history, and a lot of pride. And in this guy who, because he went out of his way, which I've told this story before to Bruce Springsteen, it was like I thought the guys in the MTV Music Department were joking with me and fucking with me. And we're going to this Page and Plant show, and they're like, hey, yeah, Pinfield, like, what are you fucking guys on about? And they're like, Bruce called the bosses, tell them to look out for you. I'm like, oh, shit. And then of course found out it was absolutely true.
Wow.
Bruce called the bosses, said, look out for Pinfield. He's not from the corporate world. He's a fucking down-to-earth guy. Make sure you look out for him. He did it twice.
Shit.
It was unbelievable. Thanked him years later when The Rising came out. This record for me is also one of my favorite fucking Bruce records, although there's many. But you picked Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey, which used to be my own stomping grounds. I ran that radio station there. And well, I worked before I ran it. I worked there for years, paying my dues, but loved that station, WHTG. Bruce used to listen all the time.
Really?
Yeah, he did, and we had a conversation on it at a Soul Asylum show at Trax.
Oh, wow.
But I will tell you, so tell me why you love Greetings from Asbury Park, because it's fucking brilliant. What a debut album.
I mean, it's only 8 songs, I think, right? It's
actually, I think 9.
Is it 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That freaking record is, I mean, he's my, Philly was very much same as Jersey when it came to Springsteen. Like he's he's gospel to us, you know. So that dude, just the way he can write and his lyrics and the way he brings the listener in, and just seeing like that record, that first, I mean, geez, man, he's just, there's something so special about the guy. I listen to him all the time. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a freak about him. Yeah, I have to be careful because I'm like, maybe I shouldn't listen too much because I'll try to pull from it. You know, it's like you got to be careful with that. But man, he's inspiring. He really is.
Oh, he's fucking one of the greatest
He's the
of all.
greatest.
What a trooper and underdog. Like those stories about, him and his girlfriend, like at a shitty hotel in Times Square. And, back then there were people in Columbia were like, well, we got Billy Joel, or we got, this guy, they were ready to drop. You're thinking about dropping him, which is fucking unbelievable when you think about it. And then he
Yeah.
wrote Born to Run, and of course the rest is fucking history because he's so absolutely genius.
Yeah.
And records mean everything. It's a wild, dude. Can you believe that there's actually? Have you ever seen the bill for the night that he played Max's Kansas City?
No.
You know who his opening act was? You ready? So this
Who
is
was
Max's, like Bob Marley and the Wailers.
You can't.
Bruce and the E Street Band and Bob Marley and the Wailers are opening up for you in a fucking club. Can you believe it?
How long did it take him to take their gear down? Oh my god, that was taking forever. That's funny.
Only imagine how crazy that is.
That's funny. Wow.
It's a pretty amazing story when you think about it all the way around.
That's great.
Max's, man, it's like that was this, obviously Aerosmith got signed there, and it was a big deal, and everybody used to hang out there, and people were vying for the girls' attention, so it was like Todd Rundgren and Bowie, fighting over, like all kinds of crazy shit. It's pretty nuts. But I love that record. That first record, growing up, fucking For You, I mean, those, you might have froze for a second, but I'm still here. That they're waiting for you at Bellevue with your oxygen mask. I live a block from Bellevue.
Oh, did you?
So every time I walk by there, I think, well, they're waiting for you at Bellevue with your oxygen mask. And I'm like, I can't stop think about the hospital and not think about For You by Springsteen, which is so great. Now you picked another record that I love. Pavement's Crooked Rain, Crooked Rain.
Yeah.
Big record for me on 120 Minutes. A big part of my my life. I love Malkmus and all those guys. And I'll tell you a funny story quickly before we get into why you love the record, but you'll love this. During the Tibetan Freedom Concert, the Beasties, by the way, the new Beasties movie is now available here on Apple TV, which is so great. The Spike Jones one. And, I did a lot of work with Beasties over the years. I was at the Tibetan Freedom Concert covering it for MTV. And remember Danny Clinch, photographer who's done so much, going to me, I want to take a picture of you, man, put it on the artist wall. I'm like, well, I'm not an artist. He goes, no, you actually fucking are an artist. He goes, you may not be a recording artist, but you are. He goes, you know what? He goes, you're artist explaining to people why music is important. So that was really a compliment that meant a lot to me. But so on the way back from the concert, we're waiting for vans. So I'm in a van with Stephen Malkmus of Pavement, Sarah McLachlan,
oh my god,
and Lee Scratch Perry. That's us, and we're fucking going back to New York City. Back to the island, and it's like you got this legendary reggae madman, me and Malkmus and Sarah, and I'm just like, what a fucking crazy group.
That is funny.
But we were all getting on extremely well.
That's so cool.
You love Crooked Rain, besides the fact that Cut Your Hair and Gold Sounds and those fucking great songs.
Gold Sounds. I listen to Gold Sounds like it's my job. I love Range Life too. I don't know. Again, I got into them late, but I am a huge fan of his. He's a brilliant dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, did you see him live ever?
Yeah, I saw Pavement in 90. Oh no, it was I don't know. I was younger. And then I went and saw him play his he played a show at the Roxy, which was really interesting. last year, I guess, at some point. I don't know. It was like his solo thing.
You know, like with the Jicks or whatever he's doing, he's a
Yeah.
fucking great songwriter, man. And he's
He's
just
just a yeah, he's just a good songwriter. His voice is just whatever he does is genius. Yeah.
yeah, you know, for me, it was like I remember discovering them, you know, with Trigger Cut and
Oh,
Summer Babe, you know, going back to Slanted and Enchanted and going. You know,
so
like I was one of the, really one of the only alternative commercial stations in America that was playing Pavement, Summer Babe, and all that shit. You know.
oh yeah, that's pretty out there, man. I mean, that's
Yeah, I
amazing.
found a time and a place to play it. You know, like I was, but I just thought they were important, so wanted to expose
That's so cool.
music, and that was the deal. Why we played Sliver by Nirvana. You know, it was us and like stations in Seattle. That was about it. You know, at that
Yeah.
period of time. You know, but glad that we did. But you know, Pavement. You know, they were such an important band, and I think you know, coming out of Fullerton, California, where they were from, you know, it was just very interesting. And you know, I got to know them finally. Like I was actually playing them on the radio for a while, but at the Reading Festival in England, I just hung with them. I remember one time those guys, Guided by Voices,
Oh,
you know, all those dudes back back in the day, you know, and you know, we're all out there like just yeah, you know, getting fucked, you know, getting a little fucked up, getting
yeah.
drinking, you know, whatever, back at Reading. But I'll never forget that stuff. And I just you know, those were, you know, those were really important to me. The
Yeah.
next record you picked is Radiohead's OK Computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is just obviously one of the great things. And I mention this all the time. You see some of my plaques behind me.
So cool.
Oh, that's Smithereens, Me Puppets, and Rancid. My friend switched them out because we had Jane's Addiction up there and Alice in Chains too. He was moving around, but they're all like in the fucking storage unit. I gotta go get this stuff out of New Jersey, and I have my OK Computer in the Benz, and such a big part of why I love those bands. But OK Computer changed so many people's lives and changed the way that people saw music. Tell me
Yeah.
why you love that record.
I love that record because I remember hearing Karma Police on the radio and I didn't totally get it. And then I went and bought the record and I listened to that record. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I kept listening to it and it grew. I just, after a while, it grew on me. And then it just became an obsession and a love for that record. I just think it's so great. And the production on it is just amazing. And I mean, that's a record where a band is just like doing whatever they want to do, and it's just gorgeous, you know. And man, I probably listen to Kid A more these days, but that record when it came out just changed my life. It was excellent.
You know, it's such a great. I mean, those are such great records, and it's funny because you know when I was doing the interview with them for 120 minutes with me and Tom backstage at Radio City Music Hall
Nuts.
on a tour, their documentary maker was like, "Hey, man, Matt, you mind if we put this camera on the wall behind and just film what you guys are doing?" I'm like,
Oh, it was for that documentary. Holy shit.
people,
Wow.
yeah, for meeting
Yeah.
people is easy. Where the only time he actually smiles and is having fun and laughing is with me, and it's a comic relief that, like, when I met Chris Martin, came into K Rock in New York. He's like, "Holy shit, you're the fucking Mac guy, the only guy that I liked in that documentary." And of course, we had a history, you know. But yeah, it was just fucking. I saw that history happening.
Yeah.
Such a fucking vindication for me.
Yeah.
I love the Bends too, and there are a lot of people ready to write them off, which really pissed me off.
Yeah.
And
That was
you
Ben's
know,
is a fucking great record. That doesn't get talked about.
absolute
Yeah.
brilliant record. I love that you know, one of my exes is going, "Hello." I'm like, "Hey, look at my socials. I'm fucking doing the show." Come on, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, come on, anyway.
Hello.
Buddy, hey man, I'm real here. I'm so fucking real. That's what you get. Because I love what I'm doing. I love the music. But I'm like, she's like, "Hello." I'm like, "Hey, you might want to just go online and take a look at what we're doing." All right,
That's
there we go.
funny.
Anyway, so we're going to continue to go through the records. That is seriously funny. All right, so yeah, let's do this. Dude, it's fucking hilarious. You gotta laugh at everything, and you especially gotta laugh at yourself.
That's
Life.
true.
You gotta realize sometimes how absolutely silly we are.
Yeah.
That we're human beings. You gotta be, there's gotta be self-deprecating because man, we're always a work in progress, dude. It's I always say progress,
That's
not
true.
perfection. Now
Yeah.
you picked another band that I love from England called Spiritualized.
Oh man, this record. Jesus.
Yeah, and we got to talk about. I'll talk about it. It's funny. I was listening to another song of theirs the other day on a mix I made called "She Kissed Me." It felt like a hit, and it was like it was obviously it's a really really cool tune. But this album is obviously a masterpiece. You picked, ladies and gentlemen, we're floating in space. Tell me why you love that Spiritualized record.
Front to back, just like listening to that album in sequence is just one of the most great, beautiful things you can do. That opening track might be my favorite opening track to any record ever made. I just think I get goosebumps thinking about it, man. Like when I
Gorgeous.
remember it is, and then I think "Come Together" is the second track, and it's just cooks, man. And sonically, I don't know who recorded it or what, but man, it is the orchestration and his vocal is just, it's amazing. It's really, really special record.
So it is so great, man. I love them, love him. And there's an interesting thing that I think there's some kind of, now I could be wrong, but there's a connection with the Verve maybe with his ex who was in there with Richard Ashcroft, but that could be wrong. But I do know that you and I both also love the Verve very, very much. So there's like the production. Hey, you know what? There's a great story about that you and I have about when you were recording the first solo record and you were doing some stuff with Owen Morris.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Who you did beginning of Oasis, Morning Glory, all the records that worked with Oasis. Fucking, and I remember tell this story because it's the greatest thing in the world. Because somebody tried to pull him off your record, a band we both love, but he was like, no. So can you tell that story? Do you mind telling her? Or you want me to do it? I mean, I think you should. Is that all right?
I didn't know he was. Oh, yes. So I'm in with Owen Morris, who, like he said, he did some of the most timeless Oasis records that'll live on for so long. Yeah. And he is himself a character. He is a very amazing human being who very much gets into the record with the band, and he just becomes part of the band, and you love him so much. And we were going in to record our record with him, and I got an email one day it said Noel Gallagher, and I was like, whoa, like, why is Noel Gallagher emailing some kid from Philly? This can't be right. And it said, are you sure you picked the right producer? ? Noel. And I showed the band, I showed my manager, I was like, this can't be Noel Gallagher. And I was so excited about it because everybody's like, I think it is. That I went and I showed Owen the email thinking, like, how amazing is this? Like, you're like, it was such an idiot because Owen saw it and it broke his heart, because it was a real situation like that. Something like there was turmoil there, and it obviously affected him. And I felt like such a dick because, like, I didn't know you idolize these people and you don't realize that you can actually really mess them up. And to this day, I still don't know if it was Noel, but I mean, the way Owen got pissed,
I gotta tell you, but that wasn't your fault, man. You know what? We're always we're excited because we always want to believe that we're all like fucking fighting for the same cause, baby. We all, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like that we love our friends and we love the music and we all just want everyone. And that's how I look at life.
Yeah.
I was never a guy like in radio or TV that ever went like, I'm doing a morning show. I mean, I was friends with Jim Kerr and Elvis Duran in New York. And like, I want everybody to win. You know what I mean? Like Kevin Kline in San Francisco, different people. We love what we do. We're grateful to work. And there was another story too, but I don't feel bad about that. You were just like, and who knows if it was, but I do know this. I know another bigger band. I talked about pulling him off your record, and he said something to you like that was really cool. You know,
what band was it?
Remember when U2 were gonna take? Was that him or was that a different producer?
No, that was a different. What was that? I don't know.
What was the deal with U2? Like you were working on a record, and the producer looked at you and said, "Don't worry, man." He goes, I'll do those guys later. I'm with you, Josh, right now." Who was that?
That was the mixer, Spike Stent.
Oh, Mark Spike Stent. That's right.
He was working on I was in there, we were mixing a song of mine. It might have been Shine, and we were mixing it, and somebody came in, and it was U2 on the phone call, and I was like, oh, like, I'll go. This is way more important than.
Yeah. Well, we love you too. You and I are like, they're groundbreaking for our lives.
It's U2. And he's like, no, Josh, what we're doing right now is important to me. I'll get back to them, And I was just like, holy frick, like
that was really cool. That story I loved. I brought it up.
Class act. Yeah.
I thought about it in a while, but I knew that was just a great story all the way around. Yeah. He's a great Josh, you got 2 more albums left. I'm very excited to talk about them. One of them is just like one of these albums that just one of the greatest double albums ever. It was made under some, different circumstances for this legendary band. And they finished the record in LA. They came back and finished Tumbling Dice there. But the first song on this record is still, like, for me, like one of my Stone songs of all time. Rocks Off on Exile on Main Street, the double album, made in France on a tax exile fucking record. Talk to me about why you love this record.
This record is like, if I get in my truck and I got to drive somewhere, I just put this record on. It just makes me happy like nothing I've ever listened to before. I mean, Sweet Torn and Frayed, Loving Cup, Sweet Virginia. The freaking, I don't know how they did it, And like, then you read the backstories, and I read Keith's book during that time, and like, this was like a great rock and roll band. Just making a classic record, and it's just so good. So good.
It really is, and it was the #1 album. But at the time, historically, the singles were like, they were Happy, which is one of the fucking great Keith tunes, like we love, right?
Yeah.
And there was like, All Down the Line and Tumbling Dice were the singles off the record. But at the time, it was weird because the critics were not that warm to the record. They were kind of odd when you really think about the fact that it's considered one of their greatest achievements ever.
Yeah.
It's really interesting when you look back in time at what critics have said, and there's some brilliant critics, because I don't want to ever, just sit there and trash critics or anything like that. But some have also really, have just taken shots at bands over the years for no fucking apparent reason. But that record is just such an interesting thing. We made under that duress with that leaking basement and the microphones hanging downstairs. And, it's like the opposite of, even though I love Led Zeppelin 4, of course, but it's still with the same idea of having the microphones and using different things. And the fact that people are so innovative in recording that they will use the echo in a bathroom. It's just, for me, it's just an incredible double album. I love the record. Shine Light, man,
come on. What is that your favorite? What's your favorite Stones record?
My favorite Stone record is, my 2 favorite Stones albums are. I know what my favorite's Beggar's Banquet. And the reason being, it's like really funny because like the song that I know everybody loves, that's the last thing that I bring up is Sympathy for the Devil. Because it's cool. I love it, but that's not why I love that album. I love the album because I love the fact that they've gotten to this point where, even though I loved all the psychedelic stuff, like those fucking records, and I love with Brian Jones, it was just in this period where it was about to go to Mick Taylor. I loved songs like No Expectations, that ballad. I loved Stray Cat Blues and Salt of the Earth, which is like how I've been playing that song recently because it reminds me of all the people out there, the emergency workers, the delivery people, the people in the hospitals, the first responders, the cops, the firemen. Like
Yeah,
that's the song I put on when I'm thinking about them recently. Salt of the Earth from
that's
that
cool.
record. Jigsaw Puzzle, which is fucking
Oh,
genius. Dear
great.
Doctor and Parachute Woman. But my favorite song on the album, Street Fighting Man. That's
Oh,
fucking,
what a
yeah,
tune.
that's like, and it was banned in like at radio stations around the US at the time because to do a song like Street Fighting Man. And there's something about the production on that record, Jimmy Miller, that Primal Scream had him produce Moving On Up and that stuff,
Yeah.
which sounds so much like, obviously, they literally made that sound like a Stone song. And it's an anthem I love so much.
I love
But I'm
that.
bringing that up.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's why. But it's hard with the Stones. Like it's hard with the Beatles. Like it's hard with the Who. Like it's hard with Springsteen or any of these bands that have one favorite. But sometimes we just have to pick.
Yeah.
But like Exile used to be the one. If you look like on some of my old lists or in older books, it's Exile, and then I think it moves to Beggar's Banquet. But that's only because as I get older, we all have different things. I'm an old motherfucker, but I'm good. But I'm still here, still kicking, still breathing.
Yeah,
and which is really funny because if you think about, man, I'm lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
Your last record that you choose today is from a band I love. It's guys that were in. We look back at Uncle Tupelo, and the bands that came out of that, and Wilco. Man, when I first debuted Box Full of Letters
Oh, wow.
on 20 Minutes, I was like, dude, I fucking love this. Because, of course, I loved Uncle Tupelo, the long cut and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I'm looking at that. I'm thinking about it. What do you think? Why is that album, Yankee Foxtrot Hotel, which is genius? Why is that your favorite?
That was when we were touring through the country. That was when I was really, we were just touring all the time. We were.
Hey, if it freezes up, guys, stay with us. It happens sometime, and he is still with us right now. I'm talking, of course, about Josh from Mondo.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back, my brother. You're back right now. Absolutely.
That was just the record we would listen to when we were on tour all the time. And it just, how they take a simple song and just turn it on its head changed me and how I record music. Like that record is incredible.
It really is. It's a great record. And just what they went through, like with labels and all
how
the
do you
shit.
stop that band?
I'm Trying to Break Your Heart. Like it's
God.
one of the great documentaries that, man, it's like, but they were so triumphant through it. And Tweety is fucking such an incredible songwriter, man. I'm going to solo. No, you and I together. You and me.
Yeah.
And Crim. It's a great picture of you and I in the mirror.
Yeah.
After I got hit by the car.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to be alive. And there's a great picture of you and I in a mirror.
Yeah.
What was that venue? Was that the Ace Hotel? What was it?
No. Was it?
I don't remember. But Tweety was so great. He played acoustic. We were fucking loving it.
It was the Ace. It was the Ace. You're right.
Yeah. And that was a great night. You know what I mean? I never get tired. You know what also I love? I always love that song. And it's not on that album, but I also always loved the Late Greats because it was the way of saying, hey, man, these other people that have been doing shit for a while, they're still fucking amazing. And they've done some amazing music.
Yeah.
And, there's so many songs by Wilco that I love. But, I've never, my friend Rick Krim and his son, they always go to those Wilco, like big outdoor concert thing. Have you ever been to one of those?
Yeah, no, I'm waiting to get invited to come play that thing so bad. I don't know. I got to tell Krim to put in a word for me. I just want to go. But I figure the only way I can afford to get the ticket to go is if I'm playing.
And you should. It'd be great. You should be on that bill.
That'd be a fun one. I just want to see the band play. I love them so much.
Yeah.
Just an incredible band. One of my favorite drummers, too. He's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those guys, they're incredible. So.
Yeah.
And I love them. I always have. It's true. Like, it's funny. I just had gotten a lot of stuff on vinyl. Of course, I can't even walk through these rooms with the vinyl on the floor. So I'm just like, Yeah, I'm going to stop buying vinyl for a little bit. I
Yeah.
got enough to keep me going for a while. I just want
Yeah.
to say, Josh, I so much love having you today. I'm such a huge fan. And I view you as a person and as a musician, as a songwriter, as a performer. That was funny. When you yelled out, you're like, Pinfield's buying a t-shirt over there. I'm like, you don't have to buy one. I'm like, dude, of course. I would always. But that show was fucking great. And
Thank
do
you.
you know that's the last live show that I went to before the pandemic?
Oh, wow. Jeez.
And it was like I said, you know what I love? I love when I push myself. Like I was like, I don't feel that good, man, tonight, but fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm going to see Josh play. I don't give a
Mm,
shit.
so
He's
cool.
going on at 10:30. I'm going. And I went, and it's the same thing it always is. No matter how you feel, the minute you're in a room with live music, you're
You're
electrified. It brings it all back to you, and you're just like, I don't care how tired you are,
Yeah.
what's going on in your life, turmoil,
Yeah.
whatever that happens to be. Live music is the fucking remedy, and music in general for everything. So in the meantime, we'll do this.
Yeah.
Keep on doing things. And I just want to say, Josh, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Brother,
So
I love you. I love you. I'm so thankful for you. I really
yeah.
am.
Well, Josh, man, we'll keep staying on the phone,
Okay.
telling stories, some funny. One of my friends today told me the funniest thing. I can't say it on here right now. I laughed. I said, dude, you have to stop. I'm gonna have a heart attack. I was laughing so hard this morning. I'm like, because it's like it just blew me out of the water. And I'm like, it's those things that keep us going.
Yeah.
Friends and the people we love in the music. So listen, thanks so much, Josh, for doing this.
You got
And
it.
it's Josh Ostrander, and it's Mondo Cosmo. And you need to know, if you have not listened to the Mondo Cosmo albums, I'm sure you have. Like, I mean, people that are watching me are not fucking morons. You know what I mean? Or they're also not super casual music people. And even if you are, that's fine too, because whatever level of music you love things on, and it's all good. Use music for however it works for you. But man, Mondo Cosmo, please go to wherever you stream music and listen to Josh's music, and start with Shine, one of my favorite songs of the last 5 years. You have to hear it. And then, so anyway, Josh, thank you so much for doing this. Tomorrow we have Butch Walker. This week, Wednesday, it's Johnny Resnick from the Goo Goo Dolls. All right, Thursday, Ed Roland from Collective Soul. Friday, Pete Wentz from Fallout Boy. This is In a Lonely Place. My name is Matt Pinfield. Thank you to Linda Perry, Kerry Brown, Chris Rivero, everybody who works on the show, and especially today to Josh from Mondo Cosmo for just having a great hang with me as always. All right.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, my brother. Guys, keep the music in your heart, and just keep supporting musicians wherever you go.